And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
Hey everybody, today we're taking a look at the new second edition of King of Tokyo. This is the 5-year edition of this classic game. I guess classic might be a strong word, it's only 5 years old, but this fantastic game. Now in another video, if you've never played King of Tokyo before, in another video I'll explain about that and tell you what my opinions of the game are. Spoilers, amazing. In this video I'm simply going to be comparing the first edition to the second edition, back and forth between them. So we're going to take a look comparing the components and see what's changed. Not really much has changed other than artwork. The artwork has been given a complete overhaul. Here you go. Okay, well let's start taking a look here. First we have, this is the original rulebook and the new rulebook. The original rulebook was just a couple pages here with some clarifications on them and kind of a quick playthrough. The new one is a little bit longer, but essentially it's just much clearer. Of course, in hindsight you're able to do that, and it's a little bit smaller, so easier to fit in there. Alright, let's take a look at the boards. This is the original board, and this is the new board. As you can see, the original board had much more fire on it than the new one. Maybe this one has more destruction? I don't know. It doesn't really matter. They're exactly the same. Alright, dice. The new dice are the same as, I'm not sure if they ever actually upgraded the dice in King of Tokyo. I think they did at some point. My dice had printed things on. I eventually upgraded mine using the Halloween expansion for King of Tokyo. But these have the indented ones on, which is much better quality if you have these. I know you could buy upgraded dice later on. So anyway, pretty much the same. But you're not here to hear about any of that. You're here to see about the monsters. So let's take a look here. I'm going to put these monsters here. This is the old monsters and the new monsters. Alright, so we have Alienoid. This Alienoid looks a little lethargic. Actually, it looks a little lethargic. This is like my least favorite of all the aliens. But you can see that the old artwork was cartoony, but the new one is done kind of in a 3D style, which is one of the reasons they changed the artwork so they could put it in apps and things. So you can see Alienoid looks pretty much the same. Gigazar, yeah, he looked good here. The new one, he looks a little tougher, actually. Although I like maybe his mouth. He looks a little more evil here, but he looks tougher in the new version. The King, who is my favorite character. The old one is very cartoony. I actually really like the new King. The new King just looks great. Still my favorite character. Mecha Dragon. I think the old one might be slightly better. They're about the same. They both have volcanoes bursting in the background because that's what Mecha Dragons do. And Space Penguin, oh wait, what's this? And that's because they got rid of 2 characters. So they got rid of the Kraken and Cyber Kitty. I'm sorry, they got rid of the Kraken and Cyber Bunny. And they added Space Penguin and Cyber Kitty. Now Space Penguin was originally a promo item you could get. But they got rid of Cyber Bunny and replaced with Cyber Kitty. That's fine, although kittens are evil, more so than bunnies. Although the bunny, I like the bunny a little bit better because it's funny to see a little bunny in this giant robot. Cyber Kitty is just a giant cat. Or is there a small cat in there? I'm not actually quite sure. Getting rid of the Kraken is maybe a sad thing because I liked having the Kraken. Although a lot of people are going to like the Space Penguin. If I had my druthers, I think I'd put the Kraken in over the Space Penguin. But it's not a huge deal and people do like penguins. Alright, and finally, there is a deck of cards. Do you know that in this deck of cards, they changed every single card's artwork? Now, they did not change the cards themselves, I think, with the exception of this one here. Monster's Battery was kind of overpowered, so they increased the cost of it to 3 rather than 2, and put a limit to how much energy you get from it. You're basically paying 3 to get 6 back. Here, you could, if you had saved up to 15, you could buy the Monster Battery and essentially double that 15 to 30 for only 2. So they made it a little bit better, and they changed the artwork. Now they've changed the terminology on a lot of the other cards, but essentially it's just to clarify. It wasn't, as far as I can tell, but the artwork's the same. Friend of Children, new creepy Care Bear type thing, made in a lab, Alpha Monster, Rapid Healing. Now here's one where you can see they changed the terminology, where this one says spend 2 energy anytime to gain 1 life. Spend 2 energy anytime to heal 1 damage. Slightly different, but it's easier to see on this card because they use the symbology. Poison Spit, Extra Head, background dweller, energy hoarder, we're only making it stronger. It has a child, spike tail, new spike tail beats the old spike tail. Wings, I think I like the old wings better, but they're still both cool. Here they changed the name, dedicate news team to media friendly, but pretty much the same thing. Fire breathing, shrink ray, regeneration, tanks changed to tank. National Guard, smoke cloud, stretchy, plot twist, evacuation orders, giant brain. You can see that the pictures are kind of the same picture anyway. Gourmet is, monster wearing a hat. Frenzy is Kong looking very irritated. The king. Mimic, opportunist, poison quills, herd color, commuter train, even bigger, solar powered, nuclear power plant, herbivore. And these aren't even all the cards that are in the game, but it's just kind of a way to show you the different artwork. Now, there's a lot of debate on the internet about the artwork change and such, but I think we want to go to the main point. We'll get back to the artwork in a second, but the main point is, do you need the second edition if you have the first? Well, if you have the first, and you might have a couple expansions with it, there's no need to run out and get the second edition, because as you can see, it's pretty much exactly the same. If you're looking for maybe these two new guys, and you're like, I have the first edition, there has been rumblings that Yellow will eventually make a pack with the penguin and the cyber kitty in it so that you can get those. And I don't know how that will work when expansions come out for this, because I'm assuming they'll be redoing the expansion to match this, the power-up expansion also. So you don't need it. Now, if you've never gotten it before, this is a great way to get on board. Obviously, the rulebook being better and the components being nicer, this is a good way to jump in. I honestly like the new artwork better. There are many different reasons that they had to change the artwork, different things behind the scenes, but for the most part, it was because they want to eventually make an app for it. Maybe we'll see 3D models of these creatures and stuff. Who knows what might come down the line, and I'm excited about that. They're already talking about making a power-up for King of New York, and then we'll be able to mix and match those monsters from one set to the other. So it's a good new version, but it is almost a 1.5 rather than 2.0, which is kind of cleaning up the original version. So if you've never gotten it before, I would recommend it. It should be in your collection. If you have the first edition, I would maybe wait and see what's going to come out in the future before saying I have to get it, or give the first edition to someone else. Say, here's a great game, and go out and buy the new one. But you definitely don't need to have both. That you're not missing anything by the new one unless for some reason you like Cyber Kitty that very much. I know it's sad to say goodbye to the Cyber Bunny and to Kraken, but I would imagine we'll see Kraken again someday in the future. You watch. I'll make that call now. But either way, a cool new edition of the game. Not necessary for people who already have it, but if you don't, wonderful. Dice Tower Judgment, excellent.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at Dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.
Shut the door.
Do.